It's Wednesday, the 1st of April, from the MEN newsroom. This is Channel M's Lunchtime News, and these are today's headlines. Dragged by her hair and raped twice, the community in Harpurhey is left shocked as a teenager's attacked.
It shouldn't be happening around here. It shouldn't be happening at all, really.
Also coming up, gold stars all round. All 10 boroughs in Greater Manchester show improvements in the new school league tables.
Our school's been doing really well lately, and one of the reasons for that is because our teachers are always helping us.
Exterminate. Exterminate.
And a piece of TV history goes under the hammer.
£12,000 or £15,000. If it'll scare the burglars off, yes, I'd buy it.
Good afternoon. Our top story is the urgent appeal by police to catch a gang who raped a teenager in Harpurhey. They've described the attack on the 17-year-old as horrendous. With more details from the scene, here's Nina Warhurst.
The rape was reported at just before 1:10 on Tuesday morning. The 17-year-old was walking across Thorpe Road Bridge, which is just behind me, when she was approached by 5 men. Now, they were all on bikes and they all had their faces covered. One of the men then grabbed the girl by the hair and she was dragged for several minutes. In fact, as far as you can see, between the houses and where the railway track is. She was then taken to secluded woodland, where 2 of the men then raped her. All 5 of the men then fled through the woods and towards Kenyon Lane, which is just beyond. They're described as being aged between 18 and 24 and with Manchester accents. They were wearing dark sports clothes and a mix of motorbike masks and scarves to cover their faces.
I've got nieces who live on the estate as well, and there's all my cousins and that, and it shouldn't be happening around here. It shouldn't be happening at all, really.
Well, really upset because of my daughter, you know, playing around on others' estates and everything, so I was really upset, and I got her in quite early yesterday.
I think it really brings the community down, but it's been going on for a long time. I've lived here over 50 years, and it's gone down and down and down. I've found all sorts, clothes and blood and knives. It's one of the things I've not found in here, and I think I will find before long, if something's not done about it, is a body.
The police are describing the attack that took place here as horrendous and are reminding women that it's crucial to be precautious at night. Make sure you walk with others and take busy and well-lit streets. They're also appealing to the public for information. If you know anything at all, do contact Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111, and remember that your identity will be protected. Nina Warhurst, Channel M News.
The latest school league tables show improvements in every borough across Greater Manchester. The statistics relate to tests taken by 11-year-olds at primary schools. Nationally, they show pupils at almost 800 primaries in England are leaving schools without a good grounding in English and maths. That's even though standards have been improving. 80% of pupils across the country have reached the required standard in English, up 1 percentage point from last year. In maths, there's been a 2% increase to 79%, and in science, 88% are making the grade. Looking at the points, adding all 3 totals together from across Greater Manchester's 10 boroughs, Trafford has come out as the best with 265 points out of 300, followed closely by Stockport, Wigan and Bury. Salford and Manchester still get the lowest scores in our area, though both had improved from last year. Well, there are particular celebrations at one school in Staley Bridge, as Kevin Duffy's been finding out.
Yeah, our school's been doing really well lately, and one of the reasons for that is because our teachers are always helping us, and they're giving us ideas and facts on how to learn.
The last year's SATs results was very good, and we're in the top 10 now.
Tick VG. Millbrook Primary is one of the most improved schools in the country. That's according to Standard Attainment Test Results, or SATs, published by the government today. When it comes to the so-called value-added measure, Millbrook in Staley Bridge is 7th best in the country.
It's about the value that you put on the child, but where they come in and where you take them to, and how much they've improved within that time. It's about sort of levels that they are at the very beginning when they start school, and the value you add to them as they go through the school, and that value is is what we're celebrating, because we've added a huge value to the children here at school.
And this is what it's all about. This is a SATs test paper. Now, children here at Millbrook Primary have had to take 9 of them, and they're celebrating the results today. However, the National Union of Teachers and the National Association of Head Teachers are threatening to boycott next year's SATs tests on the grounds that they damage children's education. But in the meantime, it'll be business as usual for the kids.
We have guided reading books, and we choose a book out the library and we can take it home and read it. Bye.
Kevin Duffy for Channel M News.
Well, let's get some more on this story now. We're joined by Avis Gilmore from the National Union of Teachers here in Greater Manchester. Thank you very much for coming in, Avis. I know that you are campaigning against league tables and the SATs that these tables are based on. Kevin mentioned in his report that there is some concern that the tests could actually damage children's education. Why is that such a concern?
Well, can I first of all say we'd like to congratulate all the teachers and pupils in Greater Manchester for such a great effort. But it's no surprise to any of those teachers, I'm sure, because they know what the pupils are doing and they know how well they're doing. And we believe that by pushing pupils, particularly in primary, to take these tests, it's too much stress for them, it takes the pleasure out of learning, and it narrows the curriculum that they're learning to such an extent that it does actually have an impact on their future education.
How much do you find in schools that teachers are having to teach purely for the tests and the things they believe that are going to come up on the papers, rather than teaching, I suppose, what needs to be taught?
Well, what we're told by our members is that they spend the last 2 years in primary school absolutely teaching to the tests, that everything is geared to making sure that the pupils do well in the tests and therefore the school does well as in the league tables.
Let's face it, though, I mean, education is paid for by all of us with our taxes. Aren't tests just a way of us checking we're getting value for money, really, making sure that schools are coming up to scratch?
But there are so many variables in schools. You know, there's the difference between a leafy country, suburb, an inner city school. There's differences in pupils who are changing schools regularly. There's even differences in gender. So all of those factors have to be taken into consideration as well. And some of our schools do extremely well with some very disadvantaged pupils in very deprived areas, and that's not reflected in the tests or the league tables.
Very quickly, what do you think will be a better alternative?
Well, we're putting forward, along with the Head Teachers Union, a proposal to the government to take on a fairer form of assessment which takes place throughout the year. It's undertaken when the teacher feels the pupil's ready for it, and is used. We're looking at a bank of assessment tests that are available for teachers to use when they think it's the right time during that educational year. OK,
Avis Gilmore from the National Union of Teachers, thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime. An inquiry has highlighted a series of mistakes which led to the death of a baby boy from Hyde. Tameside Council has now admitted being partly to blame for what happened to the youngster who was being abused by his parents. With more on this, here's Andy Buckley.
Jack was just 6 months old when he died of pneumonia at Tameside General Hospital in November 2006. He'd suffered several fractures to his arms, legs and ribs. In the 2 days before he died, he'd also suffered bruising to his face and head. His parents, Stacey Louise Taylor and Mark John Harrison of Chapel Court in Hyde, are now serving 3 years in jail after being found guilty of child cruelty. A review of the case by Tameside Council says professional care workers failed to spot telltale signs of neglect and abuse. It says professionals who were concerned about the family failed to pass on their worries, and had information been shared, then different decisions would have been taken to be more assertive about the contact with and monitoring of Jack. The report said workers and medics allowed themselves to be obstructed by the parents and believed their lies about how Jack came about his injuries. The review made 12 recommendations for improvement, which have been accepted by the authorities in Tameside. These include staff training, reviewing guidance about sharing information between organisations and improving the clarity of everyone's responsibilities in safeguarding children.
2 men arrested by detectives who found more than 100 stolen police uniforms at a flat in Salford have been released on bail. The suspects, who are 36 and 45, have been questioned on suspicion of aggravated burglary. Stab vests, batons, body armour, handcuffs and CS spray holders were all recovered from the property. Officers are now checking for any links, with several crimes reported involving bogus police over recent weeks. Gordon Brown's insisting Britain and America are united in their determination to tackle the worldwide economic crisis. The Prime Minister's had 2 hours of talks with Barack Obama over the worldwide recession, which he's called unprecedented. They're meeting ahead of the G20 summit, which starts tomorrow. Security's tight in London for that, with protesters already gathering to make their voices heard on a series of issues. City workers have been told not to wear suits and have been turning up to work in denim instead to avoid provoking the demonstrators. Filling up your car has just got more expensive. An extra 2 pence a litre has been put on the price of petrol and diesel. The rise has been postponed twice before. Haulage companies say they're worried it could put some of them out of business. Thousands of swimming pools are now offering free sessions for under-16s and over-60s. Extra cash has been set aside by the government for it. Across Greater Manchester, all the boroughs are making the offer, apart from Trafford, and that's as officials in Wigan have been able to find enough money to make it completely free for everyone.
Well, we're here to launch the initiative of free swimming for everyone in Wigan Borough. We're taking advantage of the money that the government's giving us to fund free swimming for under-16s and over-60s, which we already provide in Wigan. We've done that for several years. We're going to use that with support from our primary care trust to make sure swimming is available for everyone.
Swimming is really important because it's fun, it keeps people fit. You can do it whatever age you are, and you can do it in families. So it makes taking physical activity and exercise not seem such a chore. It's actually fun and available, and of course it's going to be free for everybody in Wigan.
The government's put £140 million into this project to try and get 2 million more people swimming by the time the London Olympics arrive in 2012. The scheme guarantees free entry into swimming baths for under-16s and over-60s for the next 2 years. But not every council in Greater Manchester has taken up the government's cash offer. Here at Stretford, for example, it will still cost a family £7 to go for a swim.
There's no free swimming because I did ask this morning, which I was a bit annoyed about really, because it did sound in the news it was free swimming for over 65s and children, but it's only in a certain area, which I don't think's right. Yeah,
I think it's terrible that Trafford have voted not to accept this when all the other people are doing it.
Yeah, it make a big difference because that's quite a lot for me being a new mum, and I'm on maternity leave, so I haven't got a lot of money. So if it was free, it would encourage me to come a bit more.
A statement from the council said, "We are not trying to prevent people from gaining access to free swimming, but accepting the grant would be a financial liability for the council. We simply wouldn't be able to sustain this offer in the long term." Trafford Council say they're oversubscribed in their swimming pools at the moment, but that could all change following this latest decision. Beverly Walkden for Channel M News.
Time now for the sports headlines, and Mike Bradley's here with what could be some immense news or a very clever April Fool if you're a Newcastle fan.
That's right, James. And England's World Cup qualifier against the Ukraine this evening, that's been overshadowed by the news Alan Shearer has been appointed manager of Newcastle United until, at least we believe, the end of this season. And we also think Robert Lee was set to be named as his number 2. Shearer is Newcastle's 4th manager of the season after Kevin Keegan, Joe Kinnear and Chrissy Houghton, and should be in charge for Saturday's home game against Chelsea, which will see Newcastle currently 3rd from bottom of the Premiership, 2 points adrift of Blackburn Rovers. And if the story is an April Fool, well, it won't be the first time we've all enjoyed ourselves at the hands of Newcastle United. As far as England are concerned, Wayne Rooney will earn his 50th international cap this evening. That's for the game against Ukraine. Peter Crouch will play as a lone striker in Fabio Capello's injury-hit side, with Sean Wright-Phillips in contention for a recall, having recovered from his ankle injury. A win for England will also certainly guarantee them a place in next year's South African World Cup finals. Meanwhile, other games in Group 6 today see Kazakhstan host Belarus, while second-place Croatia travel to bottom side Andorra. A little lower down the football pyramid, Macclesfield Town slipped to another League 2 defeat, this time 1-0 at Lincoln City. Altrincham lost by the same score against Ebbsfleet, with Northwich Victoria earning a 1-1 draw against Salisbury. Both those games in the Blue Square Premier, while Gary Flitcroft, he's guided Leeds Genesis to a 2-1 Unibond Premier win over Camel Led. Now, sticking with football, we've been out to gauge the reaction to the news City boss Mark Hughes is planning an end-of-season clear-out with up to 16 members of his inherited first-team squad set for the Axe.
I think it's a good idea because they're not proven, and I don't think they fit into the future prospects of the team.
City want to move forward, you need to get rid of them, you know, you need to get a new blood.
Barca is not good for me. I don't like Barca to play City because it's old now. I don't like Barca to play City, but maybe the manager like him, it's all right.
I think they've got one of the best keepers in Shay Given in the league. I think he's a great keeper. So, you know, if they can get a few more class players, they can only get better.
I think it's a bit disgusting, to say the truth. I don't know what he's going on about, you know, because the players at the moment are doing a good job, especially the UEFA Cup and everything like that.
Now in ice hockey, the Manchester Phoenix brought the curtain down on a season which saw them play an incredible 15 games in 27 nights with a second leg 9-5 aggregate playoff defeat against the Nottingham Panthers. And here are the highlights, along with the thoughts of club captain Kenton Smith.
You know, it looks like we ran out of gas just at the end here, and you know, the guys played hard all year, and especially this last month. We finished up with 15 games in 29 days with 13 skaters, so you know, I'm proud of the guys. They did a great job, and it was unfortunate we couldn't bring some sort of silverware home.
It was two great games, two great hockey club competing, and I thought it was a great series. We're lucky we came out on a good side of it, but I have to give them credit. What an organization, what a hockey team. They came to work. It was, you know, you guys played a lot of games in the last couple of weeks, and we were fortunate to get a little rest, but at the end, hopefully we could win the Final Four now.
To tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever been this tired in my life. The last 5 minutes of tonight, I was trying to give it my all, and unfortunately, it wasn't all there. And but you know, you take it as it is, and you know, you get ready for next season, wherever we may be. Hopefully, it's back here.
Finally, some news from the world of cricket. And England's Amjad Khan is returning home from the ill-fated tour of the West Indies for treatment on a cartilage injury. That's ruled him out of Friday's fifth and final one-day test. Now, that's it from me for today, but please try and join Sam Goodman, who'll be with you from 5 o'clock with all today's sporting headlines.
Mike, thank you very much for the update. There's plenty more still to come on today's programme. Find out why cigarette machines could soon be banned thanks to a landmark legal case, and we take a look at the Dalek that's going under the hammer.
Exterminate. Exterminate. Exterminate.
If it'll scare the burglars off, yes, I'd buy it.
Welcome back to Wednesday's Lunchtime News. We're here with all of Greater Manchester's headlines every day between 12 and 1. You can always go online as well to channelm.co.uk. As well as watching this programme again, you can see all our reports, including celebrations for the anniversary of the 7-inch single and the consignment of rare seahorses that's arrived at Manchester Airport. That's at channelm.co.uk. Cigarette machines could soon be completely banned. It's all down to what could turn out to be a landmark legal case brought by Salford Council. Following this for us is Georgia Calvin-Smith.
Salford Council is prosecuting two firms which install cigarette vending machines in a case that accuses them of failing to make sure that everyone who uses them is over 18. It's as a result of an undercover operation in the borough last year in which 15 pubs were targeted by underage volunteers who attempted to buy cigarettes. They succeeded in doing so from 12 pub machines. The case against the distributors is one of the first in the country and is being supported by anti-smoking campaigners. It's thought that around 17% of underage smokers use vending machines regularly, and Salford Council is hoping to make it more difficult for the companies to profit from these sales.
I don't think there should be vending machines in pubs, but I don't think the government should dictate to children that they shouldn't smoke. If they want to smoke, let them smoke.
I think it's the distributors who are to blame, basically, but not who sell it in the pubs and that.
And why is that?
Because it's up to them, isn't it, really, to stop it.
The pub owners should try to do something about it. Put them somewhere where they can see young people if they're trying to buy them.
The Trading Standards Department at Salford Council has said that in the long term they won't just be concentrating on the distributors of cigarette vending machines, but that in the long term they'll also be looking more closely at the conduct of breweries and pub owners in their bid to make it more difficult for underage smokers to buy cigarettes. Salford and Lancashire County Council are the only local authorities in the country to prosecute the distributors of the cigarette vending machines in the hope of reducing the number of children taking up smoking. If the court case succeeds, the equipment could be banned from pubs and clubs nationally. Georgia Calvin-Smith, Channel M News.
An advert designed to stop parents smoking has been banned from TV before 7:30 because it's scaring children. The campaign features youngsters saying what they're not scared of before admitting that they're worried their mum or dad could die because they smoke. 51 complaints have been made about it, more than half saying it had left children distressed. Next, here's one for all Doctor Who fans. How would you like to have your very own Dalek? Well, one of the metal mutants is being auctioned off, and get this, it's expected to fetch £15,000.
Exterminate. 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 Exterminate.
This is a Dalek Supreme. It was in Doctor Who episodes in the 1970s and in the 1980s. It was in Madame Tussauds on display next to Tom Baker for some time. There isn't actually a reserve on it, but we estimate a realisation of 12 to 15,000 for it. It has attracted a lot of attention. We've got lots of people registered for the online sale, which starts at 10 o'clock this morning, and you can bid online until 2 o'clock on Thursday.
£12,000 or £15,000. If it'll scare the burglars off, yes, I'd buy it.
Auction finishes on Thursday at 2 p.m. www.bidspotter.com.
You can come back from behind the sofa now. Time for a look at the weather, and there's been plenty of cloud around so far. Looking ahead to the afternoon and towards the weekend for us, here's Billy Walker.
Well, locally, a grey and misty start this morning then, with some patchy fog, hopefully staying dry with light winds, but brighter sunny spells should develop throughout the day. And it's going to feel pleasantly warm in the sunshine and light winds. Now, that's only if that rain holds off. Now, as we can see on the monitor here, the temperature's between 16 and 17 degrees centigrade, and in the north, you can just see some of the rain coming in there. We can probably expect more sunshine today than yesterday, and temperatures will be a degree or two higher, reaching 17 degrees in some areas, although coastal regions will be cooler in the sea breeze. Now, there is a 4% chance of rain today, and the wind will be east to south-easterly. Sunshine up until the weekend when the rain is expected. Those maximum temperatures hanging around 16 to 17 degrees centigrade and lows of 4 degrees at night. As you can see there on the screen, the rain may well peer its ugly head towards Saturday and Sunday.
This is Channel M, our top stories. Police have called the rape of a 17-year-old girl in Harpurhey horrendous. The teenager was attacked by a gang of 5 men while walking near Woodland. 2 of them dragged her into the trees by her hair and then forced themselves on her. All 10 boroughs here in Greater Manchester have reported better results than last year in the latest school league tables. The results for 11-year-olds are based on Key Stage 2 SATs, which some teaching unions would like to see scrapped. Nationally, there's concern too many pupils are still not making the grade. And an inquiry's criticised healthcare professionals in Tameside after the death of a 6-month-old boy. They say more should have been done to stop the abuse by his parents. More on all those stories with Andy Crane from 5 tonight, but from me and the Lunchtime team, bye-bye for now.